Good morning everyone. This is Dr. S. Muthulakshmi. Today I am going to give a lecture on rotating magnetic field. Already we have discussed the basic construction of three-phase induction motor and how the induction motor is working. That is already we have seen in previous video. Now I am going to focus on rotating magnetic field. Before that, I am asking one question: why the induction motor is self-starting? So anybody willing to say the answer? Yes, I will tell the reason why the induction motor is self-starting. Means because of rotating magnetic field. Let us see later what do you mean by rotating magnetic field and how the rotating magnetic field is created in a induction machine. Okay. So you just take a three-phase induction motor. Already you know that what are the two main parts of induction machine, that is the stator and another one is rotor. So stator carries the three-phase field coil and rotor carries three-phase armature coil. You just keep in your mind, here the stator carries only field coil whereas the rotor carries the armature coil. So now we are giving three-phase supply to the stator of a induction machine. What happened in that circuit? Each winding carries current and it can create own flux setup in the winding, isn't it? So here we have a three-phase winding on the stator. So when you are giving the three-phase supply to the coil, which will create the magnetic flux according to the magnetic property. Okay. So now what happened in that circuit? The flux created by the stator winding, which will sweep over the rotor coil. According to Faraday's law, the EMF is induced in a rotor coil. So already I have told in previous lecture, here the rotor is a short circuited rotor, that is you can take a squirrel cage induction machine. So due to the induced EMF in armature coil, it will cause the current in the armature coil. So now what happened? The current flow through the rotor coil or armature coil which will cause the armature flux. So already you well known about the basic concept of a motor. So any kind of motor we need a two set of fluxes. So one is a field flux and another one is armature flux. So whatever the type of motor you can take, it may be a AC motor or a DC motor or a induction machine or a synchronous machine. So whatever the kind of machine you can take, so definitely it will have a two set of fluxes. One is rotating magnetic, one is that is a field flux and another one is armature flux. So the interaction between these two fluxes which will cause some force. So the force acting on the rotor, it will be twisted from its rest position. So the twisting moment of rotor starts the rotation of a rotor. So that is said to be a motoring action. Okay. Are you understand? Okay. So here in this slide, we are giving the three-phase supply to the field which produce the rotating magnetic field. Let us see that. What do you mean by rotating magnetic field? Now the rotating magnetic field sweep over the rotor coil which induces EMF in the armature coil. So according to Faraday's law, what happened in the circuit? That is the EMF induced in the rotor coil. So due to the induced EMF, the armature coil which carrying the current which will produce another one flux setup, that is said to be a rotor flux. Now here we are having two set of fluxes. One is rotating magnetic field flux on stator and here the rotor flux on the rotor. So interaction between these two flux setup which will cause some force on the rotor. So that force acting on the rotor it will be twisted from its rest position. So that is called as a rotation of a machine. Okay. But here we didn't provide any external device to drive the rotor, isn't it? Here we didn't use any external device for driving the rotor circuit. That means it doesn't require any external additional starting device for starting the machine. But what happened in that circuit? The motor starts to rotate because of rotating magnetic field. So that's why we can say the induction motor is self-starting one. So whatever the type of machine you can take. So if the machine has more than one set of flux on the stator or rotor, so definitely it will be a self-starting one, isn't it? What do you mean by rotating magnetic field? The rotating magnetic field is nothing but a magnetic field or magnetic flux. It having constant amplitude but whose axis is revolving continuously in the plane with the synchronous speed. Can you able to understand what I am saying here? The rotating magnetic field is nothing but it is a magnetic field having constant amplitude but whose axis revolving constantly in a plane with a certain constant speed, that is a synchronous speed. So that is the basic definition of a rotating magnetic field. So already we have discussed in a DC machine, either stator is stationary or rotor is rotating, or stator is rotating, armature is stationary. So if any one of the coil is movable and another one is a stationary, so then only we can create some motion between we can create motion in a motor. Okay. So rotating magnet, let us see in this session how the rotating magnetic field is created, or how the rotating magnetic field is rotating about an axis. So when we are giving three-phase supply to the winding of an induction machine, a rotating magnetic field is produced. So already told, the rotating magnetic field which always rotate in a synchronous speed. Synchronous speed. Let us see then, what do you mean by synchronous speed? So this is the structure of a three-phase induction machine, and here the red, blue, yellow represent the three phases R, Y, B, the corresponding phase which is connected to the corresponding AC supply, three-phase AC supply. And here when you are giving the supply to the coil, according to magnetic property, the magnetic flux will be created. So that can be represented pi R, pi Y and pi B. So each winding carries a current, due to that which can create in its individual magnetic flux. So that is represented pi R, pi Y and pi B. Here we are giving a three-phase balanced supply to the armature coil. Field coil. So all the three flux produced by the winding also displaced by 120 degree electrically. So what is the first step? We are giving the supply to the field coil of induction machine, field coil of induction or stator of a induction machine. So next thing is the magnetic flux is created. So due to the current carried by the individual winding. So the magnetic flux produced by the each winding can be represented by sinusoidally expression. That is, because we are giving the input as sinusoidal, so the flux produced by the winding also sinusoidal nature. So you know that the basic mathematical expression for a sinusoidal wave, that is V equal to Vm sin omega t. Like that, here the flux produced by the coil also sinusoidal nature, so we can also express the expression like pi r equal to pi m sin omega t, and pi y is equal to pi m sin omega t minus 120, and pi b which is equal to pi m sin omega t minus 240 degree. So here y phase which is displaced by r by 120 degree, and here b phase which is displaced by y by 120 degree, but b phase which is displaced by r phase by 240 degree. So that's why we can express the mathematical equation like pi r equal to pi m sin omega t, pi y equal to pi m sin omega t minus 120 degree, and pi b equal to pi m sin omega t minus 240 degree. So this is the rotating magnetic flux produced by the stator of induction machine. Already I told, we are giving a three-phase supply to the stator. The rotating magnetic field will be created. So the rotating magnetic flux or rotating magnetic field waveform, it will be like that. So here the red represents pi r, and yellow represents pi y, and blue represents pi b. So this is the flux distribution of a rotating magnetic field. So here let us see how the rotating magnetic field revolving at a constant speed. So let us assume that at instant 0, what will be the magnitude of a rotating magnetic field? First we consider the point 0. The value of pi r is equal to pi m sin omega t. Now here put the value omega t equal to 0. So already we know that sin 0 is equal to 0. So the term pi r is equal to 0. So next we can calculate the value of pi y. Pi y is equal to pi m sin omega t minus 120 degree. Now here put the value omega t equal to 0. So pi m is equal to pi m into pi m sin of minus 120 degree. So now the expression will become minus root 3 by 2 pi m. And next we can calculate the value of pi b. So at every instant the theta value to be changed. According to this, the resultant flux also revolving about in our axis. So pi b is equal to pi m sin omega t minus 240, and here put omega t equals 0. Now we get the expression pi m sin of minus 240. It will become root 3 by 2 pi m. Now here we are having three set of fluxes, pi r, pi y and pi b. When we add the vector sum of all the three fluxes, we will get a resultant flux. So that is pi r is equal to resultant flux pi is equal to pi r plus pi y plus pi b, that is square root of pi r square, pi y square and pi b square. Finally we will get the resultant flux at this instant is 1.5 pi m, and here the 1.5 is nothing but it is a constant amplitude. It is a constant amplitude, because why I am saying here, next we can see the we can substitute the value omega t is equal to 30 degree. What will be the value of a resultant flux? It will also the same 1.5 pi m value. Let us see in later. At instant 1, the flux this is the resultant pi r is equal to 0 and pi b equal to root 3 by 2 pi m and pi y equal to minus root 3 by 2 pi m. When we add these two fluxes in vector form, in vector addition of these two fluxes, we will get resultant flux pi r is equal to 1.5 pi m. So this is an axis of a rotating magnetic flux. Next we will consider omega t equal to pi by 6, that is equal to 30 degree. Here also similarly you have to calculate what about the value of pi r, pi y and pi b. Pi r is equal to pi m sin omega t. Instead of omega t you can put the value 30. We will get that is equal to 1 by 2 pi m. So likewise pi y is equal to minus pi m and pi b is equal to that is 1 by 2 pi m. So here also we have a three set of fluxes pi r, pi y and pi b. When we add vector sum of these three fluxes, we will get a resultant flux that is equal to 1.5 pi m. You just take a calculator and check the calculation whether you are getting the value 1.5 pi m or not. And next at instant 3, here pi r is equal to 1 by 2 pi m and pi b is equal to 1 by 2 pi m and pi y equal to minus pi m. So vector sum of all the three fluxes, we will get here also resultant flux equal to 1.5 pi m. So from this, so likewise next we can see the omega t equal to 60 degree. The value of pi r is equal to, so instead of omega t, so you have the three set of equation pi r, pi y and pi b in terms of sin omega t, that is pi r is equal to pi m sin omega t and pi y equal to pi m sin omega t minus 120 degree and pi b equal to pi m into sin omega t minus 240 degree. So instead of omega t you can substitute the value 60 degree. What will be the value of a pi r, pi y and pi b? So here we get root 3 by 2 pi m and pi y is equal to 0 and pi b is equal to minus root 3 by 2 pi m. Here also we can add a vector sum of all the three fluxes. We will get a resultant flux is around 1.5 pi m. So from this what we have conclude, when we are going to change the theta that is omega t, that means with respect to time, the amplitude of rotating magnetic field, that is 1.5 is nothing but that is the amplitude of rotating magnetic field. At every instant of time, the resultant amplitude of rotating magnetic field is a constant value. At omega t equal to 0, we will get a 1.5 pi m. At omega t equal to 30, here also we get the answer 1.5 pi m. When you are going to put the value omega t equal to 60, again we get the resultant flux is 1.5 pi m. So from this we can conclude at every instant of time the amplitude of rotating magnetic field does not change. It is a constant amplitude, but it will be revolving at a synchronous speed. Let us see that what do you mean by synchronous speed. At instant 3, and here we have three set of fluxes, and here the pi b is equal to 0, only we are having pi r and pi y. So the resultant flux vector sum of these two get a resultant flux pi r 1.5 pi m. So that's all about the rotating magnetic field. So what do you mean by rotating magnetic field? It is a magnetic field. It has a constant amplitude which will be revolving at a synchronous speed continuously about an axis. So that's all about the rotating magnetic field. So far we have discussed how the rotating magnetic field is created in an induction machine. So next let us see what do you mean by synchronous speed. Because rotating magnetic field, we should know the definition for a synchronous speed, because rotating magnetic field which is revolving at a synchronous speed. So that's why we have to concentrate on a synchronous speed. So synchronous speed is the speed of rotating magnetic field in the stator winding of an induction machine. It is the speed at which the electromotive force is produced by the alternating machine, that is AC machine. So here we can express the synchronous speed in a mathematical way, that is Ns equal to 120 F by P. And here F represents the supply frequency and P represents the number of poles on the stator. If you are changing the frequency, the synchronous speed also changing. If you are increasing the frequency, the synchronous speed also increase. If you are decreasing number of pole, the synchronous speed of the machine gets increased, because here the number of pole and synchronous speed both are inversely proportional. So when you are going to increase the number of poles, the synchronous speed gets reduced. So number of poles and synchronous speed. Let us see the relation between number of poles and synchronous speed. From the previous formula, by putting the value P equal to 2 for a frequency 50 Hz, we will get the synchronous speed around 3000 RPM. So for at a constant frequency, in our country we are using the supply frequency as 50 Hz. In foreign country they are using the supply frequency as 60 Hz. So here I have listed 50 Hz as well as 60 Hz. So if you are changing the pole 2 to 4 for the supply frequency 50 Hz, we will get the synchronous speed around 1500 RPM. So if you are increasing the pole, the speed of synchronous speed of the machine get decreased. Okay, so this is for a 50 Hz and this is for a 60 Hz. Definition of slip. Let us see another one important factor, slip. So because already we have discussed in previous slide, that is previous lecture, this induction motor is never run at a synchronous speed, which is always run at a slip speed. Let us see what is the meaning for a slip speed. So slip is nothing but it is the difference between synchronous speed and rotor speed. The synchronous speed is nothing but that is the speed of the rotating magnetic field, and here the rotor speed is nothing but that is the rotation of a rotor. Isn't it? Can you able to understand? Here we are going to take two different speed. One is the synchronous speed and another one is rotor speed. Synchronous speed that is nothing but a stator speed, and here the another one is rotor speed. So the difference between these two speed, synchronous as well as rotor speed, which will cause a slip. So it is usually expressed as a percentage of synchronous speed and represented by the symbol as S. Slip. Slip it is denoted by S. So S is equal to Ns minus Nr divided by Ns into 100. Percentage Ns equals synchronous speed and Nr is nothing but rotor speed. S represents the slip. So far we have discussed what is a rotating magnetic field and how the rotating magnetic field is created in an induction machine, and what do you mean by synchronous speed, and what is the relation between the synchronous speed as well as frequency. I hope you all understand this lecture. Thank you.